and do the intro. That heifer right there just don't even care.
Take yourself out.
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody having a fine evening out there. Y'all bear with me. Flying solo this evening, and feeling a little under the weather the last couple of days. So y'all get to see my pretty face this evening. Maybe I'll get some little attention instead of her pretty face running around. But like I said, hope everybody's having a fine evening. Bear with me. Rummage through here and holler at a few of y'all real quick. I was rummaging through the comments before we come on, and old Phil there, 33 Mile Bees, was calling Lee a cheat. And I got to agree to a point on that. Because whenever you set your own live up or you set the live up for others, then you claim first. I'm going to say that's kind of making it a little unfair for everybody else here, Lee. So I'm with you, Phil, on that. But I know we had DC, Grace in there. Huh. Oh, you can't hardly hear me? Let me work on this audio then, right fast. Y'all bear with me. Switch these settings around real quick, see if that'll be any better. Let's see if that's any better. Is that better or worse, y'all? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Like I say, I ain't got my right hand woman with me this evening to keep up with the chat, so I do apologize, but Lord willing, maybe that's a little bit better on the volume end. But good to see everybody. Let's see, I know, like I said, it was deep. Okay, awesome. Grayson in here, DC, Hallelujah Bee Farm, Todd, Rodney, good to see you, everybody. Mr. Mark Miller, the man says he's on the road again. Well, brother, we appreciate you keeping them 18 wheels a turning for everybody. Stay safe too. Who else we have in here? It's me again, Joey. I thought I seen Mr. Jeff Porkchop moseying around in here somewhere. It may have just been me a minute ago. But if I missed you, let's see, Redfish. Hope you getting along better yourself, brother. Flower Street, Brian, Tom, Keith Spillman. Yeah, like I say, good to see everybody this evening. Our week, we ain't got much beekeeping going on. I talked to my buddy Lance, and he said a couple of them bees died off up there at his place, and wax moths had gotten into them rascals. And so Hannah and I may have a couple of days this week and go up there and clean all that mess up and check on what he does have left and kind of start getting our ducks in a row as far as what we're going to do this evening or this season coming up. we did have us a pretty good conversation the other day, me and Hannah moseying down the highway on, do you maybe want to try to take this and make some money on the honey and beekeeping in, and maybe make a transition possibly from what we do as a living now to possibly to where we can transition over into beekeeping and everything that goes along with it. So, like I said, we've been mulling that over. We think we got us a path we're gonna take. Nothing set in stone yet, but most definitely we're gonna concentrate on getting the bees back built up around here at the house and all that, most definitely. But there's gonna be some other areas I believe we're gonna try to venture off in on, I guess, try to make a little bit better living on some things. But till then, we'll see how it goes. Like I say, hopefully we'll have something kind of set in stone in the next couple of months on if we want to make an LLC, go through all that and everything, and actually try to do something. But like I say, we'll see till then. But on another note, got to thank a whole bunch of y'all. Several of y'all called, texted us over the weekend, and I know everybody was doing that with others as well with these blasted storms moving in. But I want to say thank you to everybody that reached out to us and checking on things. Thank the Lord. We didn't have any damage, but day before yesterday, there was tornadoes all in the south end of Mobile County, and dealing with all that, and we missed one by about an hour. By the way we traveled, we had a little job to do in what they call Grand Bay, Alabama, down there, and that's about 30 miles from our house. But we ain't no sooner got home, whoo, tornado sirens going off and all that, and they had one go right down through the highway we was traveling on, so on and so forth. So thank the Lord on that one. But the alarms went to buzzing about 10:30 last night for our home location, and got handed up, and thank goodness we got on up to our safe spot up to the church there. And we don't know for sure, but we're pretty sure we seen the funnel coming back behind the church over there, and it kind of just bounced through different areas. But as far as I know, thankfully there wasn't no big damage or anything around here. It's just a mess for a while. And I know like ones like Larry Gandy, we was kind of back and forth with him during all that, but thank the Lord for the most part, everybody pretty well come out okay. But for the ones that had issues, y'all pray for them. I know there were some in Texas and in Mississippi out there that was in a bind as far as getting damage and stuff. But so y'all keep those folks in your prayers out there. Let me rummage through here and see if there's a fella, particular individual I'll be looking for, but I can't spoil it yet. I do not see your name yet. But like I say, I hope everybody had a good Christmas. We're going into the new year. I know many of y'all excited about going to the expo here in a few days. I imagine y'all are pretty fired up about that event. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Be careful as you travel. And y'all have a good time out there. I know a bunch of y'all's gonna be recording and all that to kind of show the ones like us here at home what's going on. But y'all enjoy yourselves. Hope everybody has a good time. And it's probably too late to say don't spend a bunch of money, but anyhow, whatever you get, hopefully it betters whatever you got going on. Ooh, St. Louis. When is that? In February? I don't know, Todd. We ain't thought about that, Captain. I'll mull that over with her, kind of see. Maybe she wants to, and things pan out, and maybe so. Went through St. Louis one time, and it was when I was a kid. Me and my mama took that Amtrak train, and we just passed through St. Louis, but there was a rail bed that pretty well run, I'll say what I remember, like parallel with a big arch right there in St. Louis along the river and all. I thought that was pretty cool. Yes, sir, DC, step by step. We pretty well got the bees, how we want to do and run things if we decide to take and make a business, whatnot. Our other step is going to be into, I guess, honey, and maybe kind of possibly diving into, like everybody else is doing, maybe some cream honey. Or Hannah really was pretty excited about the idea of making candles. So we'll just see how things go and pan out. But we're definitely gonna make us a plan, and we'll just see how it goes and where she goes. But Joey Rowell, since you're in here this evening for a few minutes, I've been meaning to show you this last live. Now here's what's left of mine between, when did I get this thing? 1989 probably. But it's been through a few things. But since you want to show yours, I'll show mine here. There he is. His eyeballs is gone, and his nose is torn out. But we still got him. That's the one there that we put him down there in the aquarium for them yeller jackets. But I was going through we stopped by my mama's the day before Christmas, I think it was, and was looking through some pictures, and I found that picture whenever y'all seen it, ones of you on the community deal, but that one picture of it there. What'd you say, Minnesota Mike? Well, we got to do that anyway, Lee. Because like talking with Philip over there at RTS, because one of the two last cats. Do want to get some more swarm boxes built before season gets here, because yes, we are literally at the end of December for the most part. So for us down here, it ain't gonna be long before things really start firing off on swarms and season kind of starting to kick back off. So got to get on the ball of that. But I will keep that in good mind for us, building some boxes and stuff. That ain't no problem. But hopefully that swarm season goes good too. We can just replenish off swarms and not having to be dropping any unnecessary money into nukes and things of that such. Let's see here, Grammy. Well, we'll sure do it, Grammy, because I gotta I'll add her and, y'all pardon me just a second. Gotta add her and PJ's wife's family to the list over here, and I'll get into that in a second. We'll open up that. If not, got any interesting things I found in the journal that may spike some interest on some possible, how they put it, unnamed diseases. And could it still be something current these days? And it's not anything from pests that have been brought in throughout the years, but was kind of interesting. So I'm gonna write Deidre's name down here. had surgery. And like I say, the ones of y'all keeping up with the prayer list, add PJ's wife's family, Hanley's homestead, to the prayer list. He didn't specify what was going on. He just asked for prayers on the Book of Faces, I think it was yesterday. But I'm gonna run through this real quick. Y'all, if there's anybody we need to add to, take away from, put it in the comments there. And since I'm flying solo this evening, one of the two of us will go back tomorrow and check out the comments and see what y'all had put in there. But all right, starting off, we got Mr. Mark Miller. Keep him in mind. The man has got the 18 wheels rolling down the highway this evening. Ed and Miss Chris. Heard a little bit from Ed, son of one, the other day. I think it was on Facebook. Hope you're doing well, brother. Lord willing, we'll get to seeing you. You back in the chat before too long. Mr. Pat, Dirt Rooster Daddy, Miss Deb, Sun Bunny, Grammy Lisa. He's got here her son and two daughters, and an unspoken. Mr. Donnie, Cindy Tang. Wait a minute. Okay, Mike Tangway and his whole family. DC's parents. Deanna Wheeler, Miss Rachel Wilson, Philip's mama, Miss Lorinda, that's Philip's cousin there. Jennifer Brown family, Minnesota Mike. You still having issues, brother? Aaron Frederick, Larry and Sherry Gandy, as far as Mr. Larry's mama. Keith Larimore, Hillbilly Earl, the Paris family, Sandy Icy Mountain Honey, Mr. Let's see. Lord of mercy. I tell y'all what, let's do this. She's got her handwriting and all that. We'll just ask the Lord to bless everybody on the prayer list. He knows the needs. And we get that woman of mine back Sunday and she can read everything, just how she has everything written out in here. As I tell her, it's confusing to me. But it's okay. I can't read my own handwriting. But anywho, let me rummage back down through here for a second, y'all. Bear with me. All right, good to hear. Mike, glad to hear he's doing better. All right, Mr. Dan will sure do it. And like I said, I'll tell you. Okay. Mr. Dan, I'll write you down here. Then Hannah can put it in her pretty handwriting the next day or so. But once again, I'm open this chat if you want to come in and yak about something, you got some business advice, anything along those lines. We get to carrying on about it. Or if not, like I said, we got some couple interesting things in this bee journal that may pique your interest on. All right. Bingo. Should be coming through. Okay. All right. But one of them, I sure wish you was in here. I don't know if you're, is anybody seen Philip? That kind of spoils half of what I'm going through here. But if you in here, raise your hand. because I got into the great propolis debate again, but I had, or we have, I just, like Lee talking to you. He is here. Okay. I was chatting with Lee a while ago or earlier today, and all this computer mess trying to get stuff downloaded and put onto this and that and so on and so forth. Once again, I called Lee, hey, let me ask you about this. Well, I was trying to download video, but I couldn't do it, figure it out. Typical. So I don't know if it's something that's got to be sent in a different format, I reckon, or it's just something that can't be downloaded the way I'm wanting it to do. Either way, but it's evidence on the propolis debate we had not too. Who in the world's calling me? Folks trying to call, leave message. But anyhow, on the proper pronunciation of the propolis, and I'm just gonna say, my bad. I don't know what's it. The only thing I can figure is that I'm on my phone this evening, and my mic may not pick up quite as good as hers does or something. But like I said, went through the great propolis debate and got the video of evidence. And I believe I was right on the pronunciation, because the way this one fella says, propolis, I don't think too many people gonna go Mr. Bob Benny and how he's pronounced it. Y'all be telling us but the way he's carrying on about it, it's not propolis. He was saying propolis. Well, I'm going to take that as a win. I'm going to take all the naysayers. I'm going to take that as a win. So, I hope I didn't ruin it too much there, keyboard warrior. You know, you know who you are out there. But me and him just had a good conversation on that, cutting up, carrying on. But without me just rambling on too much, ain't nobody gonna smash that button. I guess we'll get into what I had on the big girl here. This one was, I was running just very trying to find some different stuff on, like date ant, Miller, and old Doolittle. Was just not doing good. Wait, yeah. Now, is that better or worse? I don't know what's going on. It's got to be something on my phone, I guess. Is it still? Okay. I don't know, y'all. Unless I might have to try to restart this thing somehow and see if that'll make things a little bit better. But if it keeps on buffering, let me know and we'll restart and try another live real quick. I don't know what be making this thing not have good signal, as it's just about bluebird skies today. But is it still cutting up? Like the picture's fuzzy? Okay. All right, Minnesota Mike saying work, no worries. But if it gets too bad, y'all put a bunch of thumbs down and we'll try to restart the thing if it's too bad for y'all. But thank you much, Matt. We appreciate that. Yeah, y'all definitely keep the woman in your prayers. She's sure using right now. Okay, all right. She's helping out in the chat, but she just ain't gonna be on camera this evening. But appreciate y'all, everybody on that end. And the ones of you bearing with us, we'll get through it one way or another. But like I said, I was trying to find stuff on like conversations that Daydamp was having, Doolittle was having back then, and to compare on how they was doing things back then and how a lot of people conduct things nowadays. And I say majority of the ways that I read through here, people are pretty well, it's on the same approach of things, but there's just different words for things nowadays, I reckon, versus the way they were just. But one of them I got is this is the 1893 American Bee Journal, I believe. But the trowel theory, the trowel theory of the Reverend W.F. Clark, which some thought to have gone asleep, seems to be traveling around in a lively manner across the water. A correspondent of the British Bee Journal sends that to a paper, a clipping from the Pall Mall budget of all places, old Pall Mall budget, to this effect. It will be a surprise to many to learn that, says a correspondent of the Horticultural Times, after all, the major important function of the bee sting. Now, y'all stay with me because all right, let me try the sound again, see if I can do something. Let that switch over, see if that's any better. On the volume end. And let me see about this camera situation here. No. It only let me stay on that one camera. But is it still carrying on? Okay. Minnesota Mike says louder. Way better, much better, way better, much better. Okay. All right. Let me go back then, in case it was a foul whenever y'all trying to get on some of this. But the trowel theory of the Reverend F. Clark, which some thought have gone to sleep, seems to be traveling across the lively manner across the water. A correspondent of the British Bee Journal sends to that paper a clipping from the Pall Mall budget to this effect. It will be a surprise to many to learn that, says a correspondent of the Horticultural Times, after all, the most important function of the bee sting is not stinging. Take note of that. I have long convinced that the bees put the finishing touches on their artistic cell work by the dexterous use of their stings, and during this final finishing stage of the process of making honey, the bees inject a minute portion of formic acid into the honey. Note that the bees inject a minute portion of formic acid into the honey. This is, in reality, the poison of their sting. This formic acid gives to honey its peculiar flavor, and also imparts to it its keeping qualities. The sting is really exquisitely contrived little trowel with which the bee finishes off and caps the cells when they are filled brimful with honey. While doing this, the formic acid passes from the poison bag, exudes drop by drop from the point of the sting, and the beautiful work is finished. Whoever the eye may be in above case, anyone familiar with Mr. Clark's bird eye view of beekeeping, anybody may be interested in that, want to go back and look. Uh, Clark's bird eye view of beekeeping. He had written a book on some of this. We'll see a strange resemblance between the above paragraph and the note on page 60 of said book. The writer of the paragraph, however, has gone a step further than Mr. Clark and assigned to the sting the duty of flavoring the honey. This helps to clear this helps clear up the sugar honey question, as the flowers have nothing to do with the flavor of the honey, the flavor being given by the sting, found out the condition of the sting when clover or buckwheat honey is stored, and by getting the sting in the same condition when feeding sugar, you will have respectfully clover or buckwheat honey. And so of honey of any flavor, evidently the editors of the British Bee Journal have not carefully read Mr. Clark's book, for they say the trowel theory was started as a pleasantry, no doubt. So, let me rummage through here. Any of y'all got on that? Let me see here, Philip. Oh, no, I'm with you now. Ah, you got me. Uh, that sounds pretty good though. You right. April Fools all around. They put that stinger juice in that honey, and that's what gives it the flavoring versus the flour. I thought some of y'all might get a good run on that, but I want 2 minutes yet. Yeah. Uh, one more beside it here, and I guess since we're into winter, and a lot of y'all have a winter feeding questions. If you're new, this is something I read this quite often throughout many of the bee journals. A lot of people say this, but whenever folks have questions on winter feeding, just kind of maybe keep this in your mental bank up here for next year. But once again, and whenever I say many of these people in here, it's often like Date Ant, once again, Doolittle, C.C. Miller, ones like that, these big time people that was really working bees back in the day and making things happen, is often their opinion on winter feeding. But says when bees need feeding, often we receive questions for the queries and replies department, which should be answered sooner than they would be if allowed to wait their turn. Again, questions are asked that can be satisfactorily answered by one person as if 20 or more replied to them. The following question we think comes under two kinds we have referred to. Hence, we give it here with a reply. How can you tell whether or not bees need feeding? This is a wintertime question. The question doubtless refers to bees in winter quarters. As a rule, there should be no feed for, or there should be no need for such a question to arise. Let that sink in a second. Should I be feeding my bees in the winter? And these people are saying that question shouldn't even arise. Let me get back on track here. Give it here, and it should give B. How can we tell whether the bees need feeding? The question refers to bees in winter. As a rule, there should be no need for such a question to arise, for bees should go into winter quarters with more than enough stores to carry them through, so that there need be no attention paid to the matter until spring. Still, there's always have been and probably always will be cases in which there is danger that certain colonies may exist in their stores before leaving the winter quarters. So it goes into saying if you got some that's starving, then feed them, yeah. But the main deal is going into winter and not having to feed without this whole 10 paragraph deal. Basically, the summary of all that is have your bees prepared before winter season even starts in on you. One more here. Sugarcane syrup for wintering bees. Is sugarcane syrup good to winter bees if they are wintered in the cellar? If not, will it do for spring feeding? And this is somebody that had asked a question up in Minnesota. Mr. C.C. Miller says yes. Daydant and Sons says yes. Eugene Secor, yes, undoubtedly. Several more folks down through here pretty much saying yes. There's a handful of people that says no, pretty much any sugar would be good for them, but there's probably, I'm gonna say 25 different responses from people, and a majority of them saying that sugarcane syrup is pretty well, back then they would say was one of your best things to feed your bees with. Not any kind of molasses or anything. Well, they talked to molasses would be much better to feed during the springtime versus a winter feed. There's something else in here I was gonna get into. I'll tell you, I better rummage through these comments, see what y'all carrying on about. DC's fired up. Well, they're not saying not feed your bees if they get low. But many of the points being made is make sure before winter even gets to you to have your bees topped off and ready to go. That way it's not a constant ordeal throughout the season trying to feed a whole bunch of bees. Everybody is pretty well nestled in for the season and they're good to go. But DC, I give you this man's name, whoever it was that wrote it. I can go back and find where it was. Yeah, it's 1893, I believe, is what this one is. I think it was just around here. Bear with me, we get there. It was it didn't have their name at the end of it. Usually they got their names at the end of it, but they ain't got the name down on the end of it. Well, yeah, like this gonna be a lonesome evening this evening, maybe a short night. Once y'all get in here, we get a subject going on. Let's see if I pass that one up. Try to go back through it real quick. it was pretty interesting on one other subject. What I tell you that was a minute ago? That that first deal I was telling you when we got about. Yeah, the unknown. Yeah, there you go. Don't tell me it. Okay, yeah. Let's see if I got all of it. Make sure it didn't go away. Uh, Now this one is quite long, but it's another one of them food for thought. They have this one as the nameless bee disease. And it says, is it not possible that we have two diseases compounded in one, and the so-called nameless bee disease? Fellow says, I think we have, from the fact that most of the writers in speaking of the disease say that the workers become slick and shiny from the loss of their hair on the bodies, and that they have a nervous and tremulous movement of their wings, etc. But with the disease we have here, none of the slick, shiny, hairless bees are to be seen, and they do not have any tremor motions spoken of above. In the first case spoken of, they are usually affected more early in spring and in late fall than at other times. But in the later case, they never show it until hot, dry weather begins. In the first case, they seem to dwindle along and die off about as fast as the young bees hatch. But in the latter, they just die in the wholesale, a strong colony dying out in a few days. They seem to have their own natural size and appearance in every way except a few that seem to have their abdomens somewhat swollen. When a colony first becomes affected, its bees will almost stop working and hang in a cluster on the front of the hive, with only now and then a bee attempting to leave the cluster apparently to work, but being unable to fly, they crawl off and soon die in the hot sun. At this stage of the disease, the brood and young hatchling bees seem to be healthy and all right, but as the disease advances, all of the unsealed brood dies either from the disease or starvation, and I am unable to tell which. But I am of the opinion that it is for the lack of food, for it seems that the nursing bees are unable to secrete or prepare food for them. But when the disease reaches this stage, the old bees will be dying by the thousands. Sometimes the whole colony will die and leave the combs filled with sealed honey and a good supply of pollen. At other times, they will all die except the queen and a mere handful of young downy workers. Then they get well, build up a good colony without any remedy or any help whatsoever. I sent Professor Cook a cage of sick bees describing the disease. His reply is as follows. I think this is the worst form of a bacteria or microbe malady that is becoming worse and worse. I think the government at Washington should take this up. Suppose you send an enclosed notes to honor Edwin Wilkes, Department of Agriculture. Tell him that I said it is a microbe and to ask him if the Bureau of Animal Diseases will take it up if you will send diseased bees. I at once wrote Mr. Willis what Professor Cook said, and here is part of his reply. The Department of Apiaries, to whom the matter was referred, thinks from the description of Professor Cook is quite right in supposing it will be due to some microbe, but of course only an extremely careful microscopic examination of freshly dissected bees would determine which of the numerous microbes known to produce disease in bees this is one, or whether it may be a new one not yet identified and figured. Yet such an examination might be undertaken by this department if you would send in live specimens of the disease, bees, etc. Bella says, I did, but perhaps it would be nothing but fair to state before giving their reply that all the worst cases had gotten well or died before I could send them any sick bees. Though the ones I sent only slightly effective, here's their reply after receiving the last sample. Your letter and also a cage of worker bees are received. No bacteria were found in the tissues or juices taken from the bees alive, and an effort was made to obtain tuberculosis from those by inoculation. But the tubes remain perfectly clear, thus proving the absence of bacteria and hence no trace of disease due to the latter. Material taken from the abdomens, which were swollen, of some of the workers that arrived dead, showed under the microscope numerous bacteria, none of which, however, could be recognized as foul brood or dipless or diphilus. The case of the nameless bee disease, probably there were only such as usual develop in the dead tissue of the bees or in the bowel contents of dysentery specimens. In an examination of this kind, it is necessary to simplify the matter as much as possible by removing all other causes tending to produce disease conditions, as is in the case of the bees arriving dead. Indications of dysentery were present, swollen abdomens and bowels filled with a brownish liquid. Also, their cage was soiled. It seemed useless to experiment further with them, etc. Further on in the same letter, he says, as indicated in the answer to your other letter, the very first one, is there an unidentified disease out there? The remedy is most likely to prove effectual is that of replacing the queens of the diseased colonies with those of different blood. That I have done, but all to no purpose. I now have queens to breed from 3 different other states, but it seems to make no difference. All suffer alike with the disease. And they said they're calling this disease. He said, I shall call it bee cholera until I learn a better name for it. I had no idea there's potential for cholera in the bees out there. But let me look again here, Mr. Dan. Better give me the actual. Any of y'all want to go back and read this? This one is volume 31, number 5, February the 2nd, 1893 is when this one was. So volume 30, number 5, 1893, American Bee Journal. And any of y'all, you want to check it out, listen to it, or, kind of go back and do your own reading on a lot of this. All we do is just go to, once again, type in Cornell University American Bee Journal, and it's usually like the first one that pops up, and it's got Cornell University Bee Journal in 1881, 84, and all that down through there to get into the same thing that we pretty well read from on here. But I thought that was interesting. Do we still have that potential nowadays? Are there some bee diseases out there that that we're not recognizing or maybe overlooking? Or is there just not any and we've got it all pretty well figured out nowadays of what disease is what, and they can nail things down with the science that we have nowadays of what is what. But I say once again, that was pretty interesting there. Let me go back here. Okay, Brian, I see it said staying here. IAPV is what that sounds like, but it wasn't really named until 2004. That's crazy. It took, if that's what he's saying, nearly what 150, 200 years to figure out a name for that. That's crazy. Oh yeah, DC. Well, like I say, a lot of things that's from what we pick up or read from them bee journals. I really don't want to say reinvent the wheel, but there's a lot of things that we think are new ideas nowadays, and getting into how the old timers were doing it back then. There's nothing new about it. These men, and there was few women doing it back then, nothing like nowadays, but the men and women back then had a different way of having a beekeep and how they maintained colonies, kept good, healthy colonies, fed when they had to, stuff like that. Pretty well the same process of what we're doing nowadays. Now, on some of the feeding, and a lot of the people back then would feed just powdered sugar, they would say, and not so much like a regular granulated sugar or a cane sugar. A lot of people just pretty well swore by feeding with powdered sugar. Said it worked for them better. They seemed to digest better, and so on and so forth. That's interesting, Brian. Appreciate you putting all this up here, man. So I think that's when they did the DNA RNA sequence on it. That didn't even start until the late 70s. Even then, it wasn't done on bees until later. That's crazy. Which I guess we really didn't start having to being able to do anything with DNA coming up until what, the last 30, 40 years kind of thing. Yes, sir. Now you're talking about the lots of women manage the family honey productions through the Appalachian region. Y'all want to read a lot about that? Check out some of them old Foxfire books. And yes, sir, it does speak a lot about the women taking care of things with the bees there at home. Kenneth, good to see you, bro. Chris, appreciate you dropping by, man. Hope you having a good day, bud. Mr. Russell Amon, it's good to see you. What else we got running through here? But will be interesting to talk to somebody that knows the showing ups on some of those. That are they out? Are they still out looking for potential unknown diseases? Or do we already have some here that we're blaming on mites or hive beetles, wax moths, or just poor foraging, whatever the case may be? I'm thinking on that. There was another one. Let's see here. If I can get it back open and find on it. about origin and what a lot of people believe to be, is it too many colonies? How many colonies is too many on one site? See if I can find it till then. What y'all reckon? How many colonies is too many? We'll just say on one area that you got. You may have a square acre out there that you throwing 50 colonies on. 50 too much, 100 too much, 200 too much. Or do you think you could get on up into potentially 500 to 1,000 on one spot? Let's see here. I think we're getting on it. No, that's the feeding again. It may not have been in this one. Well, hope. Yeah, bear with me, bear with me. Kind of graze through here real quick so if I can find that one. But basically, if I can't find it, I'll just tell you about it. Some people were worried about having like 25 colonies. They was writing in as 25 colonies too much for me to have in this one area, because some people are telling me, yeah, that's way too many. Or some people are saying, look, you can have way more than that on there and not even worry about anything being the bees starving out or not being able to have enough forage for 25 colonies. But once again, once you got into date ant and that whole bunch, them dudes were saying, look, it ain't no problem to have 500, 1,000 colonies on one spot of land. Said everything's going to boil down basically to that season. So don't matter what the location is, if you don't have any kind of good nectar flow, then those bees ain't going to do it. They said, for example, they had one spot of land where they had about 500 colonies and there was no way the bees are going to starve out, and they still wasn't able to keep up with the flow, that there was so much nectar out there. So the bees they were just overwhelmed with nectar in these areas, and they said many of them, they kept them there for years and years. But it's just like everything else nowadays, which especially nowadays because we got more people around. In that same area, a big landowner down the road over there, half a mile or so, cuts out a whole bunch of timber, basswood and so on and so forth is what they was naming in there. Well, they go in there and they clear cut all that property for timber. Then come next season, yes, the 500 colonies that they had out there on that spot of land wouldn't make it, because every bit of their resource that they was hitting the year before has been taken away in timberland. So a lot of them saying, if you got enough, there's going to be a good nectar resource out there between, they was going back and forth to clover and your different trees and so on and so forth, and put them out there. Put you 1,000 colonies out there. It ain't going to hurt. But if you start getting that decrease by some sort of means in nature, as far as whether it's just, that nowadays they're cutting down for a subdivided neighborhood, and there goes your whole field of white clover that you had for 100 dozen years, or they clear cutted the property to get the timber off of it, land management, whatever the case may be. Just think a lot of that was pretty interesting on how many of them guys just they didn't even stress over having 500 to 1,000 colonies on one patch of land. There we go. John Lawler there said, yeah, pretty much same thing. Said depends on what the area will support and run as many as 45 to 1 yard combination of production and mating newts. So John's kicking it out there pretty good. Where's your comment there, DC? No, wrong one. There we go. City-based hive. Now that's pretty neat. Some of them folks doing that, the rooftop hives and stuff like that up there. I think it may have been Brian C. done one last year. Pretty good one. Where was they at? They got a college or something. And watching that video, I was thinking, well, that's pretty doggone neat being able up high. I guess the point of just being up on a rooftop. You're not ground level and keeping them bees. Thought it was interesting. But all right, Mr. Mark Miller, good to hear you made it to where you was headed to, Captain. Y'all rest up, and hopefully we can all get us some rest tonight. All this weather done passed through for everybody for the most part. Ain't got to worry about no blasted storms popping up. Keith Larimore, good to see you, Bob. Hope y'all doing good up there in the fine country too. All right, here we go. Matt Sandy Valley. 3 mile radius says that's a little over 28,000 acres in total foraging space. That's crazy. And all my bees, he said, my bees are trespassing. Them little jokers, they ain't got no problem doing that. I know some of y'all got, maybe not quite caring neighbors, but fussy bunches. They probably say something, y'all, hey, your bees are over here in my swimming pool again. Or I had a bee on my back porch and about stung one of my kids. Crybabies. Let's see. There we go. All right, Barnhill. So my mentor keeps about 100 colonies per location. You're starting to see it's pretty good number, pretty well 50 and 100 colonies. And folks are just, that ain't no problem. There we go. Basically, as you need to add a yard, keep an eye on what your honey production is. When you hit saturation, you will notice your pound per colony will start to drop. I appreciate y'all getting in the chat tonight. Kind of helps me out. Keep some conversation going. That's Brian C. there again. Neighborhood with 100-year-old houses and trees. That's what I like being bad up there at Hannah's grandma's, them old home places like that. Got them old live oaks we get down here, real pretty. Good to hear, Larimore. Hopefully y'all didn't get no bind over anything or anybody around y'all. Oh, let's see. Keep the bees. Mr. Roy said, keep the bees out of sight of the neighbor. There you go. I think so. DC, I can't remember what Bob's number is. Oh, you're talking about Mr. Bob Benny. Oh, maybe somebody else answered that number good for us there. There we go. All right. We got a question here. Todd, that's a yes and no question. No if you're wearing the cheap stuff, and yes if you're wearing real tree. They can't see you, my man. Yeah, you're right about that too, Tom. Thankfully, we don't. There ain't anybody really around us that we know of, as far as close by. There's a gentleman by the way the crow flies. He's probably about 4 miles from us, and he keeps. I think he's about 200 colonies now at his place. The last time we run into him at the old Hoggly Woggly up there. Uh, that's that dude I was telling y'all about. Some of y'all may remember this, but he's the dude that bought the. He had a bear come in. All right. Thank goodness. I think it was Brian from Flower Street. We was on the conversation having insurance for your bees on that one chat. But thank goodness Miller, he had insurance on his bees because old black bear. And went over there and tore a whole bunch of stuff up. Long story short, man come out after a little bit of arguing, cut him a check. Well, dude buys 2 Connex boxes and put some, what's that, parallel with one another with about a 6 or 8 foot gap in between on the center. If y'all are with me, Steve. On top of that, or on top of those Connex boxes, he built a platform, just a big old wooden platform, or in the construction world, you may call it a dance floor or something like that. But anyhow, put that floor on top of that thing and set his bees up there to keep the bear from getting into his bee. I told him, I said, man, and this was early on in the season. He was telling us he was doing all this, and I was kind of questioning what he was doing, which I mean, really ain't none of my business, but him in conversation. I said, man, I said, that's just going to be a thorn in the side getting up there and trying to get supers down and work them bees. You got to climb up a blasted 10-foot ladder every time you want to check your bees. And he seemed to be, well, I'm just going to carry on with it. All right. Then we'll fast forward into, I don't know, a few months back, we run into him at the feed store. And he said his system seems to be working for him pretty good. The bear can't get up there to it. He ain't got to fool with that much no more. But I forgot where I was going with that. There's my train wreck for the evening. Bears and insurance. She's gone. We'll get on another subject. I know there was something going in my brain before that, or leading up to that. Oh, the distance, far as bees in the distance. But that's the only folks that we really know of around our house and where we keep the bees and all that. So we pretty much have, besides what may or what is, I don't want to say may, what is out there in the wild, pretty much have open range around here by the house. Thank goodness. I know a lot of people ain't have that tree. You may have several folks around you, or you may be confined, like say, blasted neighborhood, and people putting out poison to kill all the little weeds and what have you coming up in the yard, like your clovers and such. But thankfully, the only biggest fear we was having is right across the road from us. They sold, I don't know, about 80 acres, and from our understanding, it was going to be a solar farm. But thankfully, we haven't seen any signs of that. We had a little concern would the bees have any issues with a solar farm, and got to talking with Brian from Flower Street, and he says he keeps some of his bees out at a solar farm. So Brian talking about that, that kind of relaxing things, but other farms, or far as any real issues around here, we can pretty say the bees are good to go. Mm-mm. Yes, ma'am. You're like, talking with Phil, 33 Mile the other day, like old Casey Jones working that fire on that train. She gonna derail. By the way, appreciate that. Enjoyed that talk and everything the other day, Phil. Thank you much on that. But yeah, yeah, I'm pretty well about to run out of things to carry on about, unless y'all want to get in here and somebody smash that button and tell us about it. Uh, I don't know. Other than being fixing to get ready, I guess on our end, get out there for too long and go build some storm boxes. Get those puppies ready. Probably gonna burn the inside of them. I'm thinking, this is just a thought now. After burning puppies, some pretty on the inside. We got some, what we didn't completely clean out on some propolis tincture. All right. Just taking that old tincture that we made that we didn't clean, spraying that tincture all on the inside of that box and getting that propolis, or that propolis smell locked in there. Because it ain't gonna take too long, or it won't take long once that what is it, that Everclear evaporates, that propolis is gonna stick there. Ask me how I know. It was late summer, I guess, this year. Bear with me, Todd. I don't mean to say this, but we was having problems with ants, and it's every single year you get blasted sugar ants in the house, in the truck, anything. And I was trying to find me something to kill these blasted ants, and just on a quick, I don't know, find something. Had some of our tincture in a little spray bottle. So I went to spraying that mess everywhere. Everywhere them ants were, I was trying to unalive everyone I could with it. And it worked pretty good. But the end result was, I didn't pay this no attention later on. It dried out. It left the propolis residue all over everything I sprayed. We had some friends give us I guess like a glass honey container that's got the little dipping stick and it's got a lid on it. The Hannah's got put up here by everybody's honey from the Ute. And oh yeah, it ain't showing nothing yet, Philip, or the doorbell hadn't rung. But that little honey bowl somebody gave us, that thing's, white ceramic, real pretty. Got a ceramic glaze on it, shines, all this good stuff. Hannah keeps everything good, nice and clean around here. Well, I got to noticing there was a brown tint on it, as if it had been in great granddaddy's house that chain smoked for 65 years, kind of thing, is what it was looking like. And I was like, uh-oh, that's that blasted propolis. And y'all, let me tell you what, you talk about a thorn in the side to try to clean off or clean up. I think I ended up having to get some rubbing alcohol and that was enough to finally cut through everything and get her little jar cleaned back up. So where I'm going with that, get that propolis smell in there. Then we'll probably take our little homemade wax lemongrass / propolis swarm lure we made last year, and put that in there as well. Yes, sir, it will, Mr. Dan Weaver. It will stain like crazy, and your woman will not be happy once she sees the mess you've created with it. Uh-oh. Until you get it cleaned up, then she's happy again. But once you first see that, she ain't happy. Yeah. What else? Where we at? Where we at? No, it ain't showing up unless for some reason, whatever's going on with the phone tonight, it just ain't letting y'all in for whatever reason. Yeah, is it still? It's still pinned, ain't it? Yeah, but either way, we'll make it through here one way or another. If not, like I say, we'll wrap it up this evening because I think so many of y'all probably going back to work, but I know a lot of y'all done took them vacations and gonna drag it out, headed up to the old expo there. Yeah, go up there for that shindig. Like I said, Lord willing, we'll be able to get up there next year, and so many of you we want to shake hands and visit with and chit chat, actually be able to sit down and chew the fat versus being on one side of a camera carrying on with one another. Just like sitting down with Dirt Rooster, and when Bob and Amy came down, it was a fellowship there while we went out, met with Dirt Rooster, Miss Elizabeth, and had a good conversation and moseyed on back to the house. But it's just good being able to sit down with folks and chit chat and carry on there. I imagine it's just everything about beekeeping, what most conversation is probably. Uh-oh, y'all on the beetles, the small hive beetle, the nemesis in our yard. That is our, I'm gonna say 90% pest issue is in black hive beetles for us. But we'll be able to stay on top of things to keep things at bay once again this year and all. But I forget what we did buy that triazicide or whatever Lee's saying. Yeah, we bought another bag of that early on in the season. Buddy, I tell y'all what, like year before last, I went through there and just caked the ground up on what it says to put out there. And I'm gonna say we had pretty good luck as far as what was in the ground. Now, what was in the hive was a different story. But that old peppermint's a good remedy for us around here, keeping them things at bay. When we can stay on top of it. Like I said, that's the key. Staying consistent. If not, like anything else, you're trying to prevent them to get in there and it'll be over with before you know it. Oh yes, Mr. Roy. We're breaking all the rules. The only one. I haven't seen anybody say the M word this evening. We've been through the I Beatles, the A's. I don't think we've been through the M's yet. So y'all go on, get it out your system tonight. If you ain't here, so y'all can load the chat at M. And that's one conversation maybe I'll actually get into one day. Might yeah. Yeah. Pretty fast. Might. Yeah. On your spelling, depending on the spelling there. Grammy's like, huh? Yeah. Where are we at? Yeah. It's something I'm not because don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be ugly, but there's enough conversation this week on the M's that I really don't get into it much. But perhaps one day we'll get into it because I'd like to read from the Library of Medicine on that. Well, it's official. It's been said. Danae couldn't keep herself at bay. There you go, DC. Yes, sir. But if we ever get in that conversation, I'll just give a highlight on it. Library of Medicine. Anybody that wants to get a head start. And the mic treatments on that. It makes a practice. Use some all natural deal there that kills 99 to 100% of varroa structures by using this one deal. I'm just gonna take a guess, Michael, but like I say, we don't have anything to no kind of nothing. But don't change what is it like? About 2 grams, but loaded forward, so or still double the numbers. How she'll do it, DC. I think she's watching the comments back there, so she may have seen that. Don't surprise if you don't get a phone call tonight from Miss Anna. Dot your right, DC. The threats are coming. Here we go. Yep, she's saying y'all get it out your system. Go on now. All right, let me check this guest button, see if anybody. Oh, nobody in there. Yes, thank you too, Larry Moore. We so appreciate you and everything. And Lord willing, it won't be too long. She'll be back on her feet, doing stuff. She wouldn't be able to sit here all evening. That's why she says she feels bad during the chats. The few chats, having to get up every few minutes, kind of walk off but she hate having to do that, but it's hard for me to sit in the chair still for a little while. And that's one reason we ended up in some church today. She's like feeling it, so stay home and go took it easy. Storms were yesterday, DC. Day before yesterday and yesterday, we had some show enough bad weather around here. Like it's out and got it day before yesterday, then it started getting on us about, I don't know, between 8 and 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock whenever it really started getting bad here. We had to kind of go hunker down at the church house for a little while. Tornado right there. I'm about over it. Next fun of me. Just she got a nervous wreck last night. You were a nervous wreck. And blames it on Jasper. I was like, call me out there. But yeah, pretty much. Thing. Like every time, because that's our sleep place during the gas storm. I think but I don't maybe be here. No, are you serious? It's just Friday. Oh, good grief. It's telling me reload and all this other kind of good stuff. It still ain't showing nothing yet. I don't know. Y'all let me know if y'all can see me back. If not, we'll end this thing. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? I'll try that one. Can you hear me now? I can see the comments. I said, you're back. We see you. Yeah. It's not digitized now. See and hear you. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Thank you, man. I guess so. That blasted thing, it just puts a button there. So try again. Literally. Try again. Yeah. Yes. See, I hear us now. Yes, sir. I'm gonna try my best, Mr. Steve. We'll see what we can do with it. Okay. We see it in here. Thank you. Where was I at before I brutally interrupted myself? I don't even remember myself when I carried on back. Was I still in the hymns? Okay, we'll drop that subject. We went through that enough. But maybe that thing, if you want to in here, so we go to work, maybe just playing around for whatever reason. I couldn't tell you. But we'll see what else. What's some of our other big plans? Business. Oh, I was fixing to say that thing, it was shut off again. Uh, business. Um, watched the video the other day. I don't want to get in. Come on. Get it. Come on. Come on. He's hesitant because any other time I. Good boy. People want to see you. Come on. Come on. Get on my head. Come on. There we go. Look, it's your time now. The squirrels you can't catch. Where to go? Come on, there we go. Jasper. They won't talk to you. You just plug on it ignore them. But I could get it. You ain't got much to say either. Yeah, we're trying to do something with this internet. Like I said, it's got to be my phone because we don't really have as big of derailment issues on her telephone. Uh, uh, I guess that'd have to be something on the cell phone, folks. DC. We just running off the telephones. The only thing I know to do is I hit the refresh on it, so hopefully that made things working again. We'll see about it, where it goes. So if not, we made it this far. Get them clowns out of here. Y'all hit the button, get them clowns out of here. Them little boys sitting down in their mama's basement trying to talk smack. Lord, I put belt on y'all behinds. What? I'm calm. Just they want to get on here and talk crap. Anyway, probably get myself in trouble. Yeah, turn it back the other way. There you go. Appreciate y'all. Was y'all able to, let me see. Let me get this dummy moron out of here. There we go. How about that? Bumbling bubble. On it. Uh-oh. Did somebody put the wrong one in the timeout or get them out of here? Like I did DC the other week? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He got him back? Okay. Got him back. Well, shoot, I didn't know. We tried to do that with DC and it wouldn't let us get him back until his time expired. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to smash that button on him that night. But in my defense, y'all know how things are on this well put together, well oiled machine we run around here. But what else? What else? What else? Is it buffering again? Friendly fire. It happens. You right there, Philip. We was having. All right, we'll derail. We're done with the honeybees. Most everybody that gonna ride it out with us is here anyway. Yeah. Uh-oh. So Lee kicked Jack and Danae out. All right, take care, Tom. Yeah, everybody, every one of y'all traveling for that event there, y'all. Y'all be safe on the highways, that's for sure. That's pretty good, Larry Moore. Man, wrongfully convicted. Steve Angel. Accidentally or on purpose, especially on this one here. Uh, it's kind of like every man for fend for himself on this one. No, sir, we haven't made it to food yet. We got 20 minutes. We'll get in that. Well, I guess we can. Okay, since you brought that up, that'd be a good subject there. Buddy, she made last night the homemade biscuits that she done not too long ago. The new recipe. All right, she made those. Then she done a homemade sausage and gravy, white gravy. And I tell you what, y'all, buddy, she knocked it out the park on that. I told her, I said, next time you do that, don't change nothing. And anytime you feel like making that, I'm down for it. So I'm telling you, I polished off, I think it was about 5 biscuits by the time the dust cleared, and cleaned out the pot of biscuits and gravy she had. We're on biscuits and gravy right now, Sarah. I can't remember what all. We just kind of kept things simple for Christmas. Let's see what we do. Yeah, we went over to your daddy's and you done sweet potato casserole. She done a squash casserole. Yeah, never mind. That was Thanksgiving. She said we did breakfast for Christmas. So that's right. That's right. Because Hannah made her mama's recipe of homemade cinnamon rolls. And that was her first venture into making them homemade cinnamon rolls. And I tell you what, them dudes come out good. And about the time she got done cutting them down, she had about 3 or 4 pans full of good sized cinnamon rolls. And was going over there that morning with her daddy, sit down, visit, have good fellowship with him. Everybody was supposed to bring something from their own end. The youngest brother-in-law shows up with 3 pounds of bacon in a bag, talking about I didn't have time to cook this. And we were like, everything was already supposed to be cooked prior to being here. And you're like, yeah, I know, I just didn't have time to do it. So any chance y'all can cook it up. So run over here, threw 3 pounds of bacon in the cast iron skillets. They was smoking like they was on fire by the time we got done. But hey, we got it together, had a good meal. Hey, them DC, them cinnamon rolls, I gotta say was good too. Uh, there you go, Miss Sarah. She said y'all did a sweet potato casserole. Now, Philip, I'm with you. I do not like tomatoes. Like, if you're slicing tomatoes, I don't like them raw. I don't want them put on my hamburger, anything like that. But if somebody can do a good tomato gravy, I'm all about a fine tomato gravy as well. Yes, sir. Oh, it won't be nothing, Sarah. Grow them sweet potato or any potato, whichever you're trying to grow. Uh, seen a lot of people taking like cattle fencing or something along those lines and making little round barrels, if you will, packing them things full of dirt and compost and just throwing them potatoes in there and getting some fine yields off of them. But if you're doing a garden and you turn in the ground, go ahead and stick them on out there as well. That way you ain't got a whole bunch of wire baskets laid about in your yard waiting on for potatoes. Let's see. All right, let's see. Jack and Danae. Jack cooked the best honey glazed ham plus sweet potato pie. This chubby gal was in hog heaven. I imagine so. Especially a good honey glazed ham. Come out your right on your own backyard. Makes it even better too, because you know that is honey being put on there, and it ain't that syrup or whatever it is they give you in the packet with them blasted things put on there. No, load it down with your own honey and just a little touch of brown sugar and let her go. Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little bit on that, DC. because check this out. I did try a couple honeys on those cinnamon rolls. I told her, I said, look, instead of putting that sugar glaze on there, why don't we just load them down with honey, let them go from there? Yes, sir. Bear with me, bear with me. So I pulled one of them good hot cinnamon rolls out of there after it was ready, and I put some honey on it. And to my palate, it wasn't what I thought it was or what it was going to be, kind of thing. And so I tried a different honey. Started with a light honey, then I tried a dark honey, and they all just kind of it really didn't fit well with my taste buds. And I told her, I said, I don't think the honey is going to be real good on them old cinnamon rolls. Just do your little sugar glaze, whatever it is you got on your recipe, and that definitely made them like they should have been using that. I think she used powdered sugar or something, made that stuff. But some of y'all, you may love it. Nope, didn't warm the honey first. Everything was still good, runny honey. And I even did too. I tried putting one of I think it was Ed's cinnamon cream honey on there, thinking, well, cinnamon rolls gonna be good too. But it just, I don't know. It's like with the honey, it kind of had a wang to it, if you will. But to you, it may taste pretty good, but it ain't something that I would be shouting to the rooftops on, trying to change from that, what a powdered sugar glaze versus a honey glaze on cinnamon. Now with the ham, yes sir, load that baby down with some honey. Yeah, because she was telling me, she's like, you're dripping honey everywhere. Because after that honey, it was still, like I said, it was still runny. Ain't none of it starting to crystallize or anything. But it was kind of lethargic, if you will, coming out of the bottle, just a cooler temperature. But I had put a little bit too much on one of them, and before I knew it, honey was dripping all down my blasted fingers and all over my hands. I was like a 5-year-old by the time I got done with that one. So I kind of backed off of it, trying others. Where we at here? Oh yeah. Which whenever we do one, it, doing a spiral ham or something like that, I pretty well wait. I imagine everybody else kind of like this too, to a point, but just about till she's almost all the way done. Then go in and start, load her down with honey. Let that honey run down over it for a good few minutes. Get down in your drippings. Then if you got a syringe or something like that, start pulling that honey with them drippings out and go over it every few minutes until that baby's ready to come out the oven. Then grab you a pocket knife and make your tongue sap your eyes out, whatever you just cooked. Oh, Mr. Dan saying the same thing. Sorry, y'all. But yes, sir. You right there, Mr. Dan. We on the same page. See, what we usually put ours in, like a turkey or ham or something like that. We have one of them. What was that big turkey pan thing? Electric baster, electric roasting oven. And I tell you, that joker. Now you can cook a good meal in that thing. That's what we used for the last 4 or 5 years until it. I think it went kaput last year. So We had the old school anything, stick it in the old oven. But I'd like to get my hands on another one of them roasters like that. Oh, you good to go then, DC? Them old smokers. Green Mountain, the, what is it, the green egg, or is that basically the same thing? That's some high dollar smokers there. Oh, there we go. Appreciate you, Mr. Steve. Man says cook it at 275. The honey won't burn. Baste it straight every hour or so. Now on a turkey, I'll tell you the only way I'll do a turkey around this house is if I have a good couple pounds of bacon. I'll lay them strips of bacon all over the skin of that turkey and just wrap it up until you can't even see no more turkey with bacon. Put her in there. I'm talking about from the get-go. Wrap her up, put her in your cooker. You come out with a fine meal. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. What say, Jeremy? Good to see you, bro. I haven't tried the honey yet, Joey, but I tell you what, I put pepper jelly on New York strip, ribeye, T-bone. It don't matter. Any kind of steak now, that's all I pretty well want with a steak. I told Hannah, I said, next time we go to a steakhouse, I said, you be sure to put that pepper jelly in your purse. I know I ain't gonna want to touch it without having that pepper jelly. Put your seasonings to it, that kind of thing, whatever your seasons you like on it. But after that, yes, sir, as soon as she comes right off that, whether you're cooking in a cast iron or you're doing that bad boy on the grill or what have you, load her down. But I'm gonna try that honey next, Joey. See how that goes with it as well. Got to be pretty close with that pepper jelly. There we go. Get some good cooking advice in here, y'all. Yes, ma'am. Oh yeah, Hannah makes a lot of I guess homemade honey mustard, if you will, quite often as well. Or we'll say homemade honey mustard. It's usually, pardon me, just like some French's mustard and our honey here at the house. But if we stop and get something and say it's chicken fingers or something along those lines, yeah, we'll come home and mix up our own batch of honey mustard instead of that stuff that you get in the old dipping container. I don't know. That's where we're trying to keep an eye out for that roaster. I guess that may be what you're talking about, DC. Doing the same thing. We're swinging them old dollar stores quite a bit. I mean, Goodwills. I like going old bottle hunting, but we do keep an eye out for that stuff as well. You find crock pots like crazy in them jokers down here anyway. So that's a real good place for y'all want to melt your honey. I mean, melt your wax down instead of going to buy something expensive, brand new. You check out them Goodwills and get you an old crock pot that you ain't studying and shoot 10, $15 and you got you a wax melter. I think that's what JW says he uses, old crock pot or something along those lines to melt his stuff down. But the key is don't leave it on high too long or you'll burn it up. I think that's what he was saying he had an issue of. He accidentally left that rascal on and it was a chunk of coal pretty much by the time he figured out what had happened. There you go. Yes, sir, DC. That's some good eating, Mr. Steve Amos. Some collards and black eyed peas, especially right out the garden kind of collards and black eyed peas. Not nothing from the grocery store. When it's grown out the yard, it is that much better. It's like you get more flavor and off of your greens, and whether you're doing pole beans or string beans, it just, y'all know how it is. Everything in the yard that you grow is better anyway. Hey, we the same way, DC. Find them deals, bud. I'm constantly trying to find good deals or barter with somebody. And oftentimes we come out pretty good on the bartering end. Pork loin and sauerkraut. You lost me there. I can't do a pork tenderloin no more. They they just don't sit well in my stomach. The sauerkraut, I'm out. Collard with some smoked pork and a cake of cornbread is fine. Eating for 365. Yes, sir. I had me a good. Well, once again during Christmas, she made a pan of cornbread. I told her, I said, get me a little snack before dinner. And she reminded me, she said, won't you just get you some cornbread and milk? That ought to hold you over till supper time. I thought, that's good thinking there. And buddy, I went in there, I grabbed me the biggest coffee cup I could find, and y'all know what to do. Just crumble it up in there and pour you a big old glass of milk on top of that and get after it. Oh, Jeremy talking about it. Said we do tamales out our way. That'd be good, some good homemade tamale. The only kind we ever had is the poor man's, the one that's in the can that you got to shake out. Ooh, y'all losing me on the sauerkraut. Mm, mm, mm. I get there's some of you that love it, but I can't bring myself to it. I guess Mama used to put it on our hot dogs and stuff like that as a kid, and I hated it. So one of them now that I can make my own decision, it's like, no, thank you. I don't know if I can bring myself to it, Mr. Dan. It would still be stuck in my head. This is sauerkraut. Homemade sausage and some good cropped sauerkraut. Well, there's a bunch of y'all out there that like that mess. Mm, look at it. It's a majority of y'all out there loving that stuff. Is there any haters out there like me? I mean, somebody give me a thumbs up if you're a hater like me on the sauerkraut. No disrespect, y'all, but it just, mm-mm. That'd be like telling me to bite into a raw onion. No, no, no. You right, DC. You right. It's just making for good conversation this evening. Craft in a refrigerator section is great for your stomach. Canned ain't worth a flip. Okay, finally, I got some help in here. Appreciate you, Barnhill B. Barn. Okay, uh-oh. Joey's doing the silent measure there. Thumbs up. Good deal. Got some team players. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, like I say, y'all enjoy your sauerkraut. That and I'd say probably liver is the two things that if you put on my plate, I would respectfully decline unless I was just, I'm talking about starving to death kind of thing. But there you go. Yeah, some people don't like stewed, like Mr. Dan there, stewed tomatoes, and some folks don't want no okra in anything, especially if it's any kind of boil. Now, if you get people to cook that okra right, you're okay. But if you get somebody that don't know how to cook that okra just right, and it's like you choking down an oyster, a lot of people can't handle that. But now my weird end, I can handle that on the okra end. There we go. I'm with you. My daddy loved it. That liver for whatever reason. I don't know why, but whenever I was little and Mama would make a pot of liver and gravy for Daddy, it was the worst evening of my childhood kind of thing. But let me say this. I did live with a generation of parents that whatever plate was set before you that night to eat, that's what you was expected to eat, whether you liked it or not. If you didn't eat, you just went to bed hungry. And that ain't talk. That's just how it was. You eat what mama cooked and you kept your mouth shut. But 99% of the other time, I love my mama's cooking. But since my daddy gone or been gone, Lord, I can't tell you when the last time she even made anything like that. Now she'll still do a good pan of fried pork chops. There you go. Yeah, no kidneys, no liver, no brains. But y'all may kind of be like, Tim, if you can't handle anything else, why would you think? I like some good gizzards, especially if them gizzards come right out that oil and they're good and hot. Now I'll eat me some gizzards. Yeah, that's it, DC. Yeah, whatever Mama told you to eat it. Then if Daddy had to tell you, you pretty well you didn't want Daddy telling you to sit down and eat. Like that. There's too much sensory nowadays to say what would happen, but that's just how it was. Yes, Steve, but there's some folks out there they just be like, "How in the world you ain't fixing to eat this?" My brother, he won't eat no good. He just thinks that's the nastiest thing in the world. But, I'll eat a bucket full of them bad boys, like I said, if they're still good and warm. No, can't do the pig's feet. I know some people that love pickled pig's feet, but I can't go there. I'm not going. I'm not going there. But well, y'all, we made it by a stretch. We got them to win. They headed on out when we went to talking about dinner. But let me say this for the 23 of you that always ride it out to the end with us and everything. Next Sunday, we should have a date for our 1,000 giveaway. So probably what we'll do whenever we do it, or if we get the actual date set, we'll do next week at the end of the live once again for a date, because y'all ride it out with us all the time. Some may call me ugly for doing it like this, but when we do the giveaway, we want it to be where our diehards that are always with us have more of an opportunity to get what's going to be given away versus announcing it at the very beginning of the chat and people only coming in for a few minutes to just try to win something and head on out, kind of thing. We want to try to make it to where our diehards are the ones that have more of a chance to get what's going on. Because I have checked back with Joey Rawls. I believe we was going to do a flashlight from him, one of those little. They're more like, they kind of look like a pin light, but they're stream lights. And those stream lights, buddy, let me tell you what, that's a good product. We wore them things out firefighting. My 20 plus years of firefighting, that's always what I had on my helmet for a flashlight was a stream light. So that's a good product. What Joey's got going on right there. If you want to just purchase one, you can get with Joey and he can give you the Amazon link to where it goes directly to him, and I think he kind of gets a little bit of cut off of it. So if y'all want to support Joey in that way, or Joey, if you're still in here, Captain, if you got the link handy, feel free to put it out there for anybody. Let me grab it. Y'all bear with me. We done made it this far. But that dude right there. Let me get her turned around. Y'all see it right there, maybe. Anyway, streamlight, but trying to do it without blinding y'all. I'm not going to turn it directly in the camera, but excellent little flashlight, and that puppy will go in the daytime. And that's the whole point of having this little fella for anybody that, if you're having trouble seeing down in them cells and you want to be looking at them larvae and your eggs, what have you, instead of trying to walk out, get that perfect spot in the sun where you can see down in that frame, this little old light will get you there without having to meander off from that colony or try to twist and bend the thing. But got that coming for Joey Rawls, and we're going to have some gloves from Guardian Bee Apparel, or I don't want to say the deal we worked out, but what Terry said, and God love him, Terry with Guardian Bee Apparel, he said, Tim, we just do it like this, bud. He said, if you want, they can do the new gloves, the ones with the shorter portion, or they can do the longer gloves. Or if you didn't want a pair of gloves, you can do something to equal value from Guardian Bee Apparel. So it'll be totally up to you for whoever the winners are on that. Once we give you the special code to type in at Guardian Bee Apparel, you can just go through there, shop for whatever size gloves you want, put the code in, bam, Terry's going to mail it right on to you right there. Then I know we've got some metal queen cages we're going to be giving away, some Apis Biologic we're going to be giving away, and I think Hannah's got a couple t-shirts she was going to make and give away as well. So it won't be a huge blowout, anything like that, but it will be some good stuff coming from folks. And once again, we'll thank Joey and Terry and Johnny Walker for sending us the Apis Biologic. Seems like I may be forgetting somebody else, but if we are, it'll be up there for the giveaway whenever we give y'all the date on that. But like I said, next week we will have a for sure day set on that. And we look forward to it, and just kind of a way to thank everybody for supporting us. Once again, we never imagined we'd made it to 1,000 subscribers. I figured we'd still been way down in 100 or so kind of thing, but we want to thank everybody that has subscribed and does support us, and our members too as well. Thank y'all very much for supporting us on that end. That is what you members is what's helping kind of advance the derailment, if you will, on the StreamYard. That's how we're able to kind of afford right now to be able to get the, I forget what, anyway, be able to pay for StreamYard where we can show pictures and short videos and stuff like that. But I want to thank everybody on that end. And if I missed you, I do apologize. Once again, thank you everybody for checking on us the last couple of days in this bad weather. Glad to hear everybody in the chats that dealt with the weather pretty well come out unscathed. If anything, I told Hannah, I said, remember that old game, pick up sticks? And she said, yeah. I said, that's what I'm out here doing all day long today. And I had me a good pile of them. Old Lee, he was out doing the same thing. But I'll try to put, for the ones that make it this far that watch later on, Joey, I'll try to put that in the description sometime tomorrow. I think I still got that link. If you're talking about the flashlights, I'm pretty sure I still got that link in the text message you sent to me a while back when we was talking about it. But until then, y'all go holler at Joey, and if you buy one now and you win another one, hey, you can give that to whoever helps you out on the beekeeping end, or if you know somebody in the beekeeping that it'll benefit if you happen to purchase one from him. That'd be one you can help somebody out with that may have a time seeing. But till then, let me get the deal here set. We're gonna wrap her up for the evening. Like I say, till then, y'all, God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care. Happy New Year. Stay safe if you get out and travel, out and about during that time. I know, like I said, a lot of you gonna be locked down at the Bee Expo. So, but if you're at home or gonna be out and about traveling, enjoy your New Year, but be safe. Till then, y'all take care. God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care.
Well, guess that's it for today. See you next time at Gunline Bees.